Sleep paralysis.
That's fun.
It is a fun, interesting topic because there's a lot that can go into that, depending on if you live in America, in the South, in the North, and a different country. But the craziest thing is that every country believes in it and has a different belief in it.
Really?
I mean, I know the real reason behind it. I know the science, and also know what it feels like to have pretty intense episodes of it. And I can see where, the lore comes from, man. It's a fun thing.
I can look up the names of what the other countries call them later, but here in the South, is where you hear the term the old hag syndrome, which is supposed to be what sleep paralysis is that's why you feel like you can't breathe, is because it was thought that basically I don't remember if the lore states if it was a witch specifically or if it was just an old woman that sat on your chest to drain the life out of you. I guess if she's draining life, she had to be a witch. But
it sounds like a heart attack.
The crazy thing is that every country has a different word for the old hag, but they all basically believe in the exact same thing. That's the same concept as I don't know what country it is where it comes from, but the succubus and incubus is basically the same as old hag.
Yeah, fuck that. I think I'd lose my shit if I had that happen to me.
I don't technically have sleep paralysis, I don't think. I don't know if I've ever experienced that, but I do have and experience it fairly regularly. If you've ever heard of exploding head syndrome.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Describe that, because I'm not really familiar with that. I've just heard people talk about it.
So exploding head syndrome is similar in certain ways because it normally happens when you're about to fall asleep or about to wake up. But I mean, it can sound like anything from, the stuff falling over in your kitchen going crazy, or a car door slamming, or an explosion, or a dog barking. It's just a loud noise that all of a sudden wakes you up out of nowhere.
Huh.
And
I might have had that the other night.
I've jumped out of bed more than once and grabbed my gun and ran into the living room thinking somebody was in the house.
Can it sound like a voice?
I've never experienced the voice, but I guess I don't see why it couldn't.
Because the other night, Brandy, my wife, for the people that don't know her, she was in the living room and I was laying in bed, and I guess I was dozing off or something, and I had headphones in my ears, and I could have sworn she was calling out to me, and I saw lights flickering, and it turned out she just watching TV, and I was just seeing the lights flickering from the TV, but I could have sworn she called out to me. It's kind of weird, but I guess I do hear noises like that.
Yeah, and I think that's somewhat normal because I know me whenever I'm about in that stage where I'm about to be asleep, but I'm just dozing off. I just even small ambient sounds around me will just kind of intensify and swell up to a point where it wakes me, and then it's calms back down to normal.
Yeah, I guess it could be a adrenaline response. You're falling asleep and then a very slight noise seems louder and just wakes you up with adrenaline. I don't know.
Oh, it's a big burst of something because here's a story. There was one night, Hannah, my wife, sleeps on the side of the bed, or at least this night she did, where that was technically closer to the door. I was sleeping on the far end of the bed. She said she woke up to me somehow Rambo flipping over her, where I was completely airborne in a parallel, over her, flipped out of bed, grabbed the gun off the counter in the bedroom, and I went to the door, used the corner of the door as cover, and said, "Get the fuck out of my house." And then cocked my gun and got down on one knee and said, "You can leave now." Because I thought somebody was in the house, and it was Valentine's Day, and the shadow of a heart-shaped balloon made me think it was somebody's shoulders.
Well, that makes me think of that time when we were kids and you sat up in the middle of the night and said Christmas pie.
Yeah. It turns out is a thing. Apparently, Christmas pie exists.
Really?
As an actual food. Yeah.
Interesting.
I've looked this up before. There was
It
also
was a lot
one time-
weirder when we didn't know that it existed.
Yeah. I think there was also one time Jonathan talks in his sleep a lot. He did as a kid.
He probably still does.
Pretty sure there was a time in my bedroom where we talked to him while he was talking in his sleep and somewhat controlled how his dream played out. That happened.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely happened.